In this video, we'll talk about a feature called as an SFTP. So where Microsoft enabled this feature, maybe I would say 2-3 years back. So earlier it was not there. Now we know FTP, where we used to an FTP server. So we typically use these FTP servers to transfer files between the two organizations or external networks. Okay. So this FTP was there quite from long time, and we might maybe heard about applications like in FileZilla, okay, Crush FTP or Core FTP. Like there are so many FTP servers available. So when we really want to transfer files between the two organizations, so we used to use an FTP server. So the FTP server will transfer files over a clear text, which is not a secure method. So during the transit of the files, it means during the transfer of the files, someone in the middleman can basically try to read the data. He can read the data if at all he can get access to that. So to protect from the middleman, so we have got something called as a SFTP, which is called as a secure file transfer protocol. It's called as an SFTP in the case of it. So SFTP is used again to transfer files between the two organizations, or I would say organizations, or between from external networks to internal networks. So mostly we use this now in many organizations. We use the SFTP to transfer files. Could be different cases. One case could be like I have developed a software. I want to provide that software to my customers. So I put that file in a SFTP or an FTP server. Then I provide a username and credentials to the client. So they download and install it. Second is so I have some files which needs to be provided for other organization for processing it. Maybe like health records or insurance records or some kind of information. I have it, but I want to provide that to the other organization for further processing it. So we upload that files into an FTP server, so the other organization can download these files. So we need some kind of a system which can exchange or which can provide a transfer of files between the two organizations or external networks or anything. So that is where we use called as an SFTP, which is a secure file transfer. So it encrypts the data during the transit and decrypts the data during the transit, and the communication will be established between the two, the client and these things. So on the Azure Storage account, so this is our storage account. So I'm giving it for the sake of this thing. I'm just saying that this is an Venkat SFTP, or I would say called as an acute SFTP dot blob dot core dot windows dot net as a storage account. So this storage account will provide a feature where we can use this as an SFTP service. So during the creation of a storage account, we need to enable a feature called as an hierarchy namespace. Then under that, we need to create a container. So under this storage account, we can create a multiple containers, a container 1, a container 2, a container 3. So which can represent your a separation of data. Like you can call it as in a container 1. We can call that as an, I would say called as a customer 1. We can call a container 2 as an called as an health records. Maybe based on requirement to requirement, we can create and container 3, like we can have code as in a backup file. Some I'm just giving a naming. So you can have your own names for these containers. So under these containers, you can create a directories. So we can call as an user directories, or we can call as a directory to organize the files. So we can have create multiple directories under each container, and we can assign permissions to the user. So I can say called as a directory. I'm saying called as an inbound as a directory, or I will say called as an uh, health files or something like that. I can create another directory called as an insurance documents or something like this. So it depends on requirement to requirement, whatever the directories which you want, we can create it under the single container, a single container. Now the SFTP feature will allow us to create a user account. Will allow us to create user accounts. So we can map the user account to then a directory which is under the container. So when a user logs in using an SFTP client, so you can directly see these files which are available under this directory. So you can set the public access or restricted IP access on the storage account. If you don't want the storage account to be accessible from everywhere, we want this to be accessible only from specific networks, then this can be restricted. Now let's see. So I'm going to a storage account. So I'm creating a storage account. I'm giving a name called as acute SFTP. I'm selecting a blob service. Click on next. So in the advanced section during the creation of a storage account, you would see hierarchical namespace. To enable this, and so you enable this, you would see enable SFTP. So click on enable SFTP and create it. So we got the SFTP created. Now let's go to the storage account. So under the storage account, you would see a feature called as an SFTP. So before that, let's go to the containers. So I'm creating a container called as a projects and create it. So under the projects, I'm creating a directory called as an health files. Health files, whatever you can call it as a project one or a project two or a project three, something based on requirement, you can create a directories. So once you have the container and directories, you can go to the SFTP section and we can add the users. Add a local user. So I'm giving a username called as a Venkat. So does the user need to use a password to connect to the SFTP service or keep it? You can choose anyone. I'm just choosing a password. Next, to which container? So if you have multiple containers, it displays multiple containers. You can choose the container. Container projects permissions. Do you want to provide read, write, list, delete, create? Whatever the permissions you want to provide for this user on this container. Group ID, basically if you have some groups created, you can give a group. Now home landing directory. So when a user logs into the SFTP service, so which content to be displayed for him? Container directory 1 or directory 2, what content? I'm giving it here. The container name projects slash. So you have to use the slash and health files. So I'm saying a user called as an acute. I'm just making a note of the password. Can directly go to the under projects, can go to the calls and health files. Now we just created an SFTP service and added the users. Let's go to the SFTP service and you copy this connection string. So when you go to the connection string, it provides you the server name and the username. So before the @ so this is the username. So typically it will be a format of username at an SFTP and name, server name. A server name. Basically, it could be a storage account. So I'm giving it, now this is my server name. So I'm just taking this. So you can use any of the, when you say SFTP client. So here I'm using WinSCP. Okay, you can use any other as compatible. So I'm just giving a new site. File protocol, I'm selecting SFTP. The server name from the connection string on the SFTP server. Copy this into anywhere. And here you'll be able to see username @ this format. So I'm taking the server name from this format into the WinSCP. Username. So in the connection string, I see that before the @ is my username. So I'm giving this username and the password which it has been given during the creation of the SFTP account. Now I click on connect, login. For the first time, it gives you the key. Accept it. Now we would see that we are able to connect to the SFTP service and we can upload files, transfer files between the two. I'm just giving, we can transfer files between these two. So from here and there, so whatever you want to download the files from the SFTP server, you can download it. If you want to upload a files to SFTP server, you can upload it and you can do that. Now, when you're creating, you can create multiple user accounts. And during the creation of the user account, you can set multiple users to the same home directory. I'm giving it called as an Ramana SSH password. I'm selecting the same container projects and I'm giving all the permissions. Landing directory, I'm specifying the same directory name. I'm giving it projects slash health first, health files, health files. So the multiple users can be pointed to the same home directory. If people want to, multiple users want to use the same SFTP server and this thing to download. Now I can see a user account called as a Ramana. And let me copy this. And so the server name will be the same, but the username got changed. I'm disconnecting this. I'm making a new connection. I'm giving it the server name and username and the password. Login. Now I see that both users are able to save the same content because we have mapped both the users to the same directory. Okay. So based on need to need basis, you can do that. So based on, so you can create a hierarchy that how you want to organize your SFTP structure for different customers you want to have and different container within that different, like based on requirement, you can create that. So that's how you can enable SFTP service and you can use Azure Storage as an SFTP server to transfer files because in some SFTP services are a bit expensive in some cases if you go for any priced version, but Azure will charge you for the capacity which you consume and the amount of bandwidth which you consume for the file transferring between these two. So that's how you can use the SFTP service.